I feel like I haven't been on for a while, but this thought crossed my mind today. I felt the need to come on and share. Please excuse the top of my head. um, so today, as I was here working, first of all, as you may or may not know, there's a snowstorm here in New York, and so I worked from home today. And for some reason, my mind was basically going. And it's funny because as I grow into senior citizen status, um, I forget just as quickly as the thoughts pop into my head. But I'm grateful that this thought, because I thought of something today while I was working, and then I went downstairs, and at some point I wanted to share it with mom, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember what it was. And then I remembered it, and it basically stayed in my head. So I figured I would just come on tonight and share. I wanted to talk about um, healing, right? Because now that I'm on my journey, I'm able to identify with certain things. I'm able to um, embrace, basically behaviors and, um, like just growth, right? Um, and so I wanted to just come on and do this quick message about why relationships shift when we grow. Because I'm sitting here thinking, about like some of the relationships that I have had, had, and not just, and this is like any kind of relationship. So basically, whether it's personal, professional, um, it could be with your neighbor, it could be a church member. It's just basically like just relationships and how when we grow, how things change. Because at one point I couldn't understand it, but today it basically hit me. It hit me, right? I've noticed something about connection. Two people can work to two unhealed people. That's what it was. Two unhealed people can work together. They get along well. Two healed people can be great together. But one person on the healing journey and the other one still stuck, that combination will never work. It will never work. And I say because I've lived it. Like I will look back at certain friendships, acquaintanceships, and relationships that I've had, and I realize, wow, like yeah, right. When two unhealed people meet, they bond through pain, through survival, through the wounds they both recognize. That becomes the version of each other that they know and expect, right? It feels better, it feels familiar, it feels safe, but it isn't healthy. Then healing enters the picture. The healing journey doesn't start for everyone at the same time. Some begin early, some begin later, some never begin at all. And it's crazy because that's where I am now. Like there were times when I used to like wonder, like, well, why don't they this and why don't they that? And I realized that healing is a choice. Like we can either choose to be healed or choose to, be stuck. And each day that passed by, I realized that, hey Veronica, each day that passed by, I realized that, um, you know, by choosing to step outside of my comfort zone, I am choosing to heal. I am choosing to grow, and I'm choosing to experience this life the way that God intended for me to experience it. But the reality of it is, not everybody thinks that way, and I got to figure out why it is that people actually choose to be stuck. I'm not going to waste my time on it though, because I just feel as if like that might be a mystery that I may never be able to solve. Anyway, the reality of it is, once you begin your journey, once you start, it's inevitable that you change, right? Because you get clarity, you soften, you evolve into the person that you were meant to be. We meet different versions of each other along the way. And most people only remember the one they first met. In a perfect world, we would reintroduce ourselves and say, "Hey, this is who I have become." Like, I really thought about that today. Like, maybe I should reintroduce myself to my own self, right? Just like, cause so I'm still wearing this ring, right, that I gave to myself on New Year's Eve, when I apologized to the little girl in me for not being there for her over the years consistently, right? So this is a promise ring that I made to her, i.e., me, to be there for myself. And I feel as if, like, the same way that I apologize to that little girl, I might we need to reintroduce ourselves, right? Because as we grow, we don't change, we just evolve. Like, because once you become enlightened, like, you cannot help but to grow, right? It's like reading a book. Like, once you read a book and you learn certain things, you can't not, um, you know, you can't like not experience it. Like, you can't not have read the book. You already read it. Like, so you know what's in there, you know the content. You may not remember everything, but there's certain things that basically stick out that you remember, right? So the reality of it is, while I would love to be for everybody to basically reintroduce ourselves, I think that sometimes we just, I don't know, resentment, I think, basically creeps in at some point. Anyway, the reintroduction, I think, could work if both people are growing, because there's curiosity, like, "Ooh, who have you become?" Right? Because there's room for expansion. But sometimes, who like sometimes someone who hasn't started their journey, they can't receive the updated version of you. Your growth makes them uncomfortable. I've experienced it, right? Because it highlights their stagnation. I was watching a video a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, last year. And I don't remember whose video it was on YouTube, and he said that God sent people back in your life so that you can see where you would be had you not basically chose to change, right? So therefore, the person that you may have basically drifted away from a while ago, you drifted because you started to basically evolve. Like, you decided that I didn't want to be that stuck person anymore, right? And when I heard that message, I was like, wow, that is so true, because it happened. It happened, right? So instead of um, them celebrating your transformation, they may ridicule it, they may question it, they may judge it, not because you're wrong, but because they cannot see past who you used to be. And I remember, someone that I am familiar with basically, sharing about, someone saying, "Oh, but you change," blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "But we don't change, we just grow." We're meant to grow. It's kind of like going outside and expecting your tomato to basically stay a seedling. That don't work. We plant it so that it can grow. So God placed us here so that we can grow, right? Um, into bigger and better, right? But I feel like here's the part that we don't say out loud. We don't like to say it out loud after, rather. Sometimes we want the old version of someone to come back. I'm guilty of that, right? That person that we bonded with, the one who matched our wounds, the ones we used to basically cry with, and basically like pity parties, because that's the person that we were familiar with, right? But the reality of it is, once a person becomes aware, once they taste peace, joy, or alignment, there is no going back. Enlightenment doesn't have a reverse button. It does not. You cannot experience true joy and then willingly choose sadness just to make someone else comfortable. Mm-mm, no, ma'am. Mm-mm. But we try. We try. We shrink, we dim, we soften our edges to avoid outgrowing the room. But here's the truth. I had to learn this. Like, shrinking yourself might make the other person more comfortable, but dag nabbit, it makes you deeply uncomfortable. And eventually, that discomfort becomes resentment, frustration, or for me, silence. We were not meant to live small so that other people can avoid their own unhealed places. The goal has to be your comfort, your peace, your happiness, your joy. Healing is supposed to expand you, not make you fold yourself into smaller shapes to fit into old spaces. Mm-mm. Relationships don't fall apart because the love disappears. They fall apart because the identity changes. And the only one person grows, right? And so, therefore, we have to basically just be mindful of the fact that if you are on your journey, allow relationships to basically fade because not everybody is meant to come with you or go with you in every chapter. And the reality of it is, we all know tomorrow is not promised. So why waste your moment today trying to basically, bring somebody along who don't want to go along? Because I feel as if like when a person wants to go along, then they will figure out a way to embrace change and grow. Because you know what? There is a whole wonderful world out there and it is waiting for you. So make the choice to grow. Make the choice to grow. Thank you, Miss Veronica, for joining me. The thought just popped into my head today, and I say, you know what? I have to do a live because I haven't really found my rhythm as yet. Um, because I've been working on a bunch of things. And so the thought would not leave me. And I was like, I said to my mother, I have to basically do this live. So thank you, Veronica, for joining me. I truly, truly appreciate you. And I miss you. I miss you. And please know that I'm thinking of you, even though I'm not on your live, but please know that I'm there. I am there. If anything, I'll pop in on Wednesday evening. Love you, girl. Anyway, thank you for listening. And I do hope that this message will resonate with you because the healing journey can be very lonely sometimes and it can, come with a lot of questions. But just know that it gets better. It really does. And, if you lose somebody along the way, then that means that that person wasn't for you anyway. They were not. So today's t-shirt is Living Silently. It is available at t-shirtsanddenim.com. Anyway, thanks again for listening. Take care of you and please, please, please protect your peace. Take care. Bye, Miss Veronica. Bye, Mama.